How y'all doing? My name is Matthew, whatever you want to call me. But what we're doing today, we're gonna write this code out, right? Write this code out. We got 1 square, 2 squares, and 3 squares. So we're gonna cut out 3 different shapes. So once we've done one shape, we're gonna start moving to another shape. But once we've done this shape, we're gonna move to this shape. Alright? So that's the code we're gonna draw out, right? So every code we're gonna start out with, always gotta start out with G20. Always gotta start out with G20. And then we always gotta start out with M106 plasma. M106H plasma. This is our power source. Right? Then we go to 3, we go to hashtag fab head dot mode equals cut. Alright, this is fabrication mode. This is our let us know that you're about to cut out stuff. Alright? So boom. Now that we got our three lines of code that we always use, now we want to focus on our shape, right? We got our home position right here. That's X0, Y0. So we wanna mark that down. We wanna mark like our home position down. We got X0, Y0. Alright. Our next point, we're gonna move to the start of our first shape. We already started our first shape. Alright? So we're gonna move from G0, we're gonna move from here to the start of our first shape. And that's gonna be as located on here, X 0.5 and Y 0.5, okay? So we're gonna be X 0.5, Y 0.5. Remember, always use the 0. If you don't put that there, it's not gonna recognize what that is. Alright?
Make sure not to use an O.
Yeah, make sure not to use an O. They happen a lot of times.
Easy mistake.
Yep. But it can easily be fixed, alright? So then we go to G603. We're about to start a shape. That's the code to start a shape. And now that we're here, we want to start burning. We're gonna cut that torch on. We're gonna cut that torch on, y'all. Alright? So we're gonna cut the torch on with M50. And then since we got it on, we want to start cutting from here to here. Alright?
Where are we cutting?
We're cutting from here all the way up to here.
So from 0.5, 0.5 to 0.5, Y9?
Yep, that's exactly where we're going.
Okay.
Alright? Now we was using G00 because the torch was off. Now we're using G01. The torch is on. Remember that. G01 for the torch on. And then you got X 0.5 and then Y9. Then we also have to indicate our speed. And we're going 25 inches per minute. So that's our speed right there, alright? Boom. Now we're gonna burn all the way through here. We got a whole line. So now we want to keep completing the shape. So we want to go from here to there. We want to burn all the way over there. So we're gonna mark that code as G01, G01. That's X9, and then that's Y9. We don't have to keep putting the speed because once we indicated it the first time, it's going to do it for the whole shape. Alright? So now we move to the next code, next line of code. So boom, we done went from here to there. We're going to burn from here to there. And now we're going to keep burning all the way down here. So that line of code would be G01, X9, Y 0.5. Alright? We almost done our shape. All we're doing is completing the shape. We're just connecting the dots. That's all we're doing. All we're doing is connecting the dots. And the torch is gonna do all the work in the middle. Alright? So we're just indicating where to start at. Where to go from here to there. And where to go from here to there. And now we're going back to the start. We're going back to the start. So we're gonna do G01, X 0.5, and then Y 0.5.
We always go back to the beginning of the shape so we can close the geometry.
Exactly. Alright, so now we're gonna go up here. This is a long line of code, y'all. This is a long line of code. We got 3 separate shapes that we're going. We're gonna turn this quartz off, we're gonna turn it back on. So boom. We done finished the shape. Now we're gonna cut the torch off. we can cut the torch off. We done with the shape. And then we're gonna raise that torch up off the metal. We don't want it to be touching the metal. Alright? So we're gonna raise the torch off the metal. So that's gonna be G00. Remember, the torch is also using G00. And then we're gonna use Z0.5. Boom, you just raised it up. Now we done raised it up. Alright? So now what we wanna do is, we wanna get ready to start our next shape. We wanna go to our next shape. And the next shape we're going to go to is this square. We didn't cut all this out. Now we're going to go cut this out. You know what I'm saying? We making little windows inside of our square. All right.
So this point right here will actually be the start position for our next shape.
Yep. All right.
So we have to identify that. After we raise the torch, we're going to go ahead and identify our next starting position.
Yep, and our next starting position is G00, X1, Y1. Alright? That is the start of that shape over there. And so we don't want to start burning yet because our torch is raised up. So we want to raise our torch back down. So that's going to be G00, Z0. We're going to go back to where we was at. Alright? So now that we raised it back down and we at the starting position, now we want to start burning. We want to turn that torch on. But before we turn that torch on, we want to do G603. Because that's the start of the shape. And now we can turn that torch on with M50. Alright? Now we got the torch turning on. The torch is starting to burn as X1, Y1. So now we wanted to get it to burn to a certain point. And that certain point is from here to here. Alright? That's going to be G01. What's that point again? That's X1, Y4. Okay? That's X1, Y4. Alright, so now we're just going to keep completing our shape. If we look back at our shape, we got 3 different points. Alright, so I'm going to just put that in. Alright, I'm going to just put that in. We got
move from here.
X3, Y4.
X3, Y1, and then we're going to close the geometry, moving back to X1, Y1.
Alright, so I wrote that out for y'all. These are the points. X1, Y4, X3, Y4, X3, Y1, X1, Y1. You just showed y'all that just now. Alright, so that's G01. That's G01. That's G01. And we got the speed. Now we done completed our shape. We completed our shape. So now what we're going to do is we want to turn that torch off. Again, we're going to turn that torch off.
Every time we finish a shape, before moving to the next shape, it's always pertinent that we turn the torch off.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's going to continue to cut, and we'll get a nasty cut path in the travel path to our next shape. So make sure that we turn that torch off.
Yep. So look, we can do this step again, right? We're gonna do that step again. We're gonna raise that torch up. We're gonna raise that torch up. We got a torch off, so we're using G00. So we're gonna raise that torch up. That's G0.5. Alright? We're gonna raise the torch up. And then we're gonna move our torch to the next starting position. We're gonna move our torch to the next starting position. That will be X5, Y5. That's where we're going to. That's where we're going to. We got the torch off. Now we're going to move it with the torch off. We're going to go to G00, X5, Y5.
That's your starting point for your third shape.
Yep. Starting point for our third shape. Alright? So now that we got to our starting position for our next shape, we want to raise that torch back down. We'll raise that torch back down. Alright?
We raise it up to avoid any dross or melt or debris or warpage, and then we bring it back down to make sure that it's consistent with our cut patterns.
Yeah.
It has to be at the proper height.
Yep. So boom. Now, we done went to our start position and then we gonna raise our torch down. Now we ready to burn. Now we ready to burn, and we ready to start our shape. So we do G603, and then we do M50.
Every time
you turn the torch on.
Every time you start a new shape, you need to put in a G603, and you, of course, will need to turn the torch on immediately following a G603. Every time there's a new shape, you have to enter a G603. That allows for manual torch control, and it's an indicator that we're starting a new shape. In this particular program, we have 3 different shapes.
All right. Yep. Exactly. So now we're gonna turn the torch on. Right. We're gonna look back at our shape. And our shape is X5Y8, X8Y8, X8Y5. These are the points that we're gonna hit. We're gonna burn through here. We're gonna burn through here. We're gonna burn through here, and we're gonna finish out back at where we started. So our next line of code will be G01 X5Y8. And our next one will be G01 X8Y8. And our next one will be G01 X8Y5. And our last one will be G01 X5Y5. Alright? Let's write that down.
Yep.
We got G01.
We've already identified the start position. We're going to follow 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts or burns, whichever you prefer. To come back to the start point and close the geometry of the shape.
And don't forget to put your speed. Every time you start a shape, you want to put your speed in.
Right. Every time you enter a new G603, once you start entering your cuts, you have to enter the speed in the first line. You could actually put the speed in every line of cut, but it's not necessary.
Alright. So now we question. Yep.
Can you change the speed before you put in another before you raise the torch? So like say you started the shape, can you started a line, can you change the shape where you started here and down here, like say you put this at 25, and you started here,
you definitely can. So like you saying, can I start at 25 and then down here go faster?
Yeah.
Or slower? Yeah, you can do that.
Absolutely.
You can do that.
Yeah. And the G00s, that actually moves at 366 inches per minute. That's pre-programmed. So all the movement, anywhere where there's a G00, like when we identify our home position, our start positions, when we raise and lower the torch, that's done at 366 inches per minute. That's pre-programmed. So that has all our coordinates for our third shape. Follow, we started here, X5Y5, went to X5Y8, went over to X8Y8, came down to X8Y5, and then returned to X5Y5 to close out the geometry. And now all the cuts for that shape have been made. So what comes next?
Now we done made the cut. Yep, we're gonna turn that torch off.
Always important when you're finished the shape, turn off that torch.
Alright, now we turn that torch off. What we gonna do next? Well, we're gonna raise that torch up.
Since this is our last shape, we're actually going to return to the home position.
Yep, our home position is always going to be X0 or Y0. Alright, and that's the completion of our code. Right? If we was to put this in right now, and we would be at the shop, we would make this shape. We would cut out a square with 2 boxes inside of it. That's what it looked like. So that's our code for today. That's the lesson for today. If you have any questions, anybody have any questions in the class?
Any questions from anyone? You'll also receive a copy of the code on paper, and you can take a photo of the drawing. Well, I'll take a photo of the drawing. Actually, I'll take a photo of the drawing and a picture of the code, and I'll post it on Teams, your files. Okay. I hope you found this informative. Matt did a really good job explaining everything. If you guys ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Prefer you use Teams. You can contact me at rbatley@ptt.edu, or Matt is Anderson Matthew at ptt.edu.